The phrase toxic masculinity immediately makes guys defensive. You're thinking, Jim, I'm not toxic, I'm one of the good guys. And then I say, are you sure about that? And then you say, yeah, didn't you hear what the I was just saying? And then I said, are you talking to me? And then we shove each other a little bit. Then you break a bottle in my head, and then I run off because I've got a bottle in my head. And then I eventually your girlfriend in retaliation. No. Sorry, I fell down a toxic masculinity rabbit hole there. And that's exactly the problem, isn't it? I'm not saying men are victims. I understand that being a man, especially a white man, comes with a mountain of privilege. But all men are taught negative stereotypes about themselves from a young age. And that's where the toxic part is born.
When you begin to interview them at 12 or 13, they tell you about a lot of love that they have for their friendships. They talk about wanting that kind of intimacy with other boys. As boys got older, they began to tell a very different story. They'll say things like, no homo in response to a question about intimate friendships. That reveals the culture because the fact they're equating friendship with gayness is a part of American culture of masculinity.
Men are discouraged from expressing their feelings, and too often that comes out as aggression instead. A man can't even cry without becoming a meme. That Michael Jordan photo was from his induction into the Basketball Hall of Fame. He gave an emotional speech and said that he owed everything to his mum. But everyone saw that and just said, ha ha, meme that blubbering bitch. Our traditional view of masculinity doesn't just affect how we treat others, it can also be dangerous to our own mental health.
Exactly at the age that we began to hear the language, the emotional language, disappear from boys' narratives. In the national data, that's exactly the age that boys begin to have 5 times the rate of suicide as girls.
This is scary stuff. It's important to have feelings. I have a son. I want to teach him that. I also want him to respect women, but it's just so hard. No, I'm not saying it's hard to respect women. That's easy. I mean, it's hard to break these stereotypes. When he cries, I tell him to toughen up. I can't help it. That's the way I was raised. I go, toughen up. Though in my defence, what 5-year-old still believes in Santa? We need to redefine masculinity for today's world because men are getting mixed messages and it can be confusing. According to Psychology Today, traits that women are attracted to include both pride and shame. And women thought happy men were unattractive. That's why the Dalai Lama doesn't get as much pussy as you might think. No, in all fairness, he does get a bit, but not as much as he deserves. We can't solve the problem of toxic masculinity until we can define what healthy, acceptable masculinity is. So what does the perfect modern man look like? He must respect others and show that he can be in charge. Like someone who manages a large staff, you know, he should have a lot of money, but not a disgusting amount, like around the salary of a guy who has his own TV show once a week. He should be caring and sensitive and to social issues, and also he should be confident. This guy doesn't give a f what other people think. And he must be handsome, but in a non-traditional sort of way. And of course, he has to be funny. Now, I think you know who I'm describing. RuPaul. The perfect modern man and woman, to be honest. Frankly, I'd love to have a threesome with both RuPauls. With the Dalai Lama sitting in the corner encouraging us with inspirational thoughts like, you can't be 3 until you're 1 or some shit like that.